I'm Melissa Michael from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I'm lead assessment author for the Biology How Life Works project. The assessments for How Life Works represent an exciting and groundbreaking departure from traditional textbook assessment materials.
Working with Randy and the rest of the assessment team and the other authors, the amount of new ideas and creativity and unique approaches to asking questions and doing assessment, developing instructionally oriented assessment questions. This was tremendously exciting for me, and I think has been a major contribution to the whole project.
I am fortunate enough to work with some remarkable biologists who are experts in science education and assessment. You may know some of them. John Merrill, Michigan State University; Mark Hens, University of North Carolina at Greensboro; Randall Phillips, University of Massachusetts Amherst; Deborah Pierce, University of California, Los Angeles.
My personal quest is to make sure that students can be used to help, questions can be used to help students learn. So I don't want them just to test. I want them to be instructional tools. And if they're an instructional tool, they have to fit with the text, they have to fit with the figures, they have to fit with the book, they have to fit with everything else. And that was really the essence of this project.
Working with a colleague like Mark was really fantastic, because in some ways that process of collaboration allowed each chapter to always remain true to the goals that we had laid out for them.
So questions themselves can serve various roles, and so what's impressed me is what's impressed me about working with all of you is sort of the diversity of ways that you can use questions, and therefore you have to write them deliberately with those kind of goals in mind.
We landed on these sort of four types of questions. Questions that students would do prior to coming to class, questions that students would engage while they were in class, either to see what they're coming into class with or to work through during class to actually as part of the learning process. And then questions that they would work with after class to use the knowledge that they had gained in class, sort of as they constructed their own knowledge. And then there were the exam questions, the summative assessment questions that would tie it all together.
Yes, because I think something that so many sort of question banks tend to do is really emphasize one kind of learning, and most frequently it's a lower level in terms of cognitively what students are learning. And so the suites of questions that we have are really designed to take a concept, really attack it at a simple level in terms of the retention of the vocabulary, the language, a basic recall of things, but then allow students to build on that. And it's that process of taking it up to a level that includes synthesis, that includes analysis, that includes almost a situation that's completely different, and their ability to apply it, that I think we've really tried to do. So that instructors now have, in a suite of questions, this way of really gradually increasing the sophistication of how students tackle the content. And as far as I know, as an instructor, I've wished for that so many times with every book I've ever used and never found it.
I think traditionally, even in outside of a textbook in your own teaching, you tend to approach things perhaps a little chronologically, right? So you might, write your lecture or do your syllabus, then write your lectures, then maybe have some in-class activities, and then later at the end scramble together to put together a test. That might be a traditional way of doing it. But what backwards design teaches us, of course, is that if you start at the end and think about where do you want students to go, and then write everything with that goal in mind, that does lead to alignment between text and examination, between art and examination, between all the various components.
In the context of backward design, which many people are familiar with, we started with the concepts, or what we could also call the learning outcomes. And we tried to focus on having our vision on that learning outcome, on that concept, while we built.
Our assessments were written not in isolation, but as a community. We worked with talented instructors across the country and, importantly, the textbook authors, to create assessments that for the first time are integrated with the text, art, and media. The assessments include questions at all Bloom's levels and are aligned with core concepts in order to support instructors as they guide their students towards constructing their own knowledge. We invite you to take a look.